What up, is Marcus Dynasty Football Dads. We're going to be doing Dynasty Rankings. We're into the 20s now. It says top 30, so we're going to be doing 21 through 30. And if you haven't already done so, go through 1 through 10, 11 through 20. Those videos we have already done. And I'm going to teach you how to win. Oh, I got to mute that. We're going to teach you how to win some money using some of these. All right, that'll be next video, but we'll tease you a little bit more on how to do that. So 21 is Jaylen Waddle. Of course, we're looking at a guy who did amazing rookie year, Miami Dolphins, super talented, the guy that's closest to what we can call Tyreek Hill-ish. And the biggest concern going into his rookie year was his bustability. You have some of these players that are super fast and are super quick twitchy, but they never can translate into an amazing fantasy option. I mean, look at Devin Hester, for example. He was amazingly fast, elusive, but he wasn't an amazing elite wide receiver in fantasy football. I mean, look at all these different kind of punt returners and kick returners that come through. Some are really good, some are bad. You get the Deontay Pettises of the world, and they just screw you. So that was my biggest concern with Jaylen Waddle. He's my wide receiver 10. He's number 21 overall. Again, I have to put him behind like Deebo Samuel and DK Metcalf along those. Number 22, and this is where it starts getting tough because really Stefan Diggs is an amazing wide receiver, only being 28 years old. I have his jersey literally right there. So when we talk about Stefan Diggs, the biggest concern is he has some of these games where he just seems like he disappears, and that's with Josh Allen, but he's going to have Josh Allen the next couple of years. We also have to understand that maybe Gabriel Davis has a little bit more of a role next year. Does Dawson Knox continue to progress? There's a lot of different question marks there, or do they actually get a running game? Or is Devin Singletary the thing? Whatever it is, Stefan Diggs will be a good low-end wide receiver one. That's going to be kind of his baseline, I think, over the next couple of years. He's wide receiver 11, which you could say with that kind of production could be a little bit low, but compared to the 5 years extra you're going to get with Jaylen Waddle, I have to go Jaylen Waddle. Now, this is where I feel like I'm going to get ripped apart on these next 5 players. I feel like, because spoiler, they're running backs. All of them are running backs. And I just feel like there's going to be a lot of argument here. Now, it's not the argument of who goes where, of what these 5 running backs. It's going to be, why are these 5 running backs this high? And I'm going to start off with maybe the most controversial one. It's going to be RB11. It's going to be J.K. Dobbins. And it's a guy who didn't even play last year, and I have him as RB11. He moved down actually a couple spots from a year ago today. And I just have to look at him and go, okay, he's 23. He's in a Ravens offense that you saw how valuable the Ravens running back was, and he's going to be better than Devontae Freeman. He's going to be better than Latavius Murray combined. J.K. Dobbins is super talented. The only question marks is recovering from ACL injury is still a big, significant injury. It's not an Achilles injury, but it's an ACL injury, and we hope that he comes back to being the elusive back that he was. I mean, you saw him, and he passes the eye test. He is talented. He may not have that super elite speed, but you're talking about a guy who is very shifty. He's very Maurice Jones-Drew kind of like, but just not have the huge ginormous thighs. That's J.K. Dobbins. And so RB11 is where I have him. I still am super high on him, but this is a risky pick. If you're somebody that likes safety, J.K. Dobbins is probably not your player. But understand this. J.K. Dobbins could easily move up into the DeAndre Swift territory, or he could move down to the Clyde Edwards-Helaire territory. There's some gapping there. That's kind of where I have him right in the middle. It's like that could be he could be bad and be CH. He could be really good and be DeAndre Swift. So that's the kind of the highs and lows of what you're looking at when it comes to J.K. Dobbins. Number 24, RB12, Saquon Barkley. This is the hardest thing to gauge with Saquon Barkley because he was so good his rookie year, and it just seems like it's been a steady decline ever since. He's been hurt. That's been part of the problem. And when you're hurt this often, you have to get a little notch down. But one of the biggest things you have to understand is Saquon Barkley was somebody that we were talking about as RB2, RB1, potentially last year and even 2 years ago. So he's moved down quite a bit. You're talking about he moved down 22, 23, 20. I mean, he's 24th overall, so maybe even 24 full slots here. I still believe Saquon Barkley has talent. And so I can't move him too far down. He's also still young, 24 years old. So how far can you really move down a guy who's just a little bit older than Najee? I mean, he's younger than CMC. He can catch the ball. He's super talented. He just can't stay on the field, and he's on a poor team. Well, you have to put him up at least somewhere high. So that's why I have Saquon Barkley as RB12. And I could be wrong with that, but I think that's a really good spot for Saquon Barkley because number 25 is Cam Akers. I saw enough of what I saw the last couple games from Cam Akers to put him up here, but I'll be totally honest, this is another worrisome. These guys that are coming back from injury have so much volatility. It's basically like cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency, you could wake up one day and be like, man, I am a millionaire. I am going to retire off of Doge. Elon Musk is tweeting about me. And the next day, you could all of a sudden be like, crap, Elon Musk just said that Dogecoin sucks. And then you have basically pennies on the dollar. And so that is what Cam Akers, Barkley, and J.K. Dobbins basically presents themselves as being. Very volatile, very up and down. I mean, there are people that think Cam Akers is the next Barry Sanders. Not Barry Sanders, I guess the next amazing running back. They think he's a top 5 dynasty overall running back. And then there's some people that think he's RB30. And so I'm kind of right in between here. I look at some of the players below, and I'm like, oh, should I have him above? Should I have him below? It's really tough at this situation here. But Cam Akers is going to be right into that spot. I saw enough, and he's super young, 22 years old, that I'm going to take the gamble. Achilles injuries have never been recovered before on a running back. Yes, I understand that. But he recovered literally in like 6 months. And so I'm going to take that bet and gamble, and we're going to put him here at 25. Because 26 is another guy who didn't play even at all last year. Is Travis Etienne. RB14, he is also 22 years old. And again, maybe I overvalue talent. And that could be you could say a crutch, or it could be a weakness of mine. But I like talent. And Travis Etienne is a very, very good running back. We also have James Robinson, who is hurt. And we don't know how his recovery will be. But Etienne is such a fast running back, such an explosive running back. And to say that I have Javonte at like 10 overall, and then Najee in the top 5, and Travis Etienne's should be, if he's healthy, should be at this spot, RB14, or even potentially higher if he stays healthy, and that's going to be a big key. But I like everything. He can be a 3-down running back if need be, and he's going to have his buddy Trevor Lawrence throwing him some dump-offs and stuff. I really like Travis Etienne. I feel like he's the guy that you're going to be like, oh man, his touches aren't that great. In fact, Travis Etienne is a very good example of, and I talk about DeAndre Swift, and because we talk about the Kamara, the DeAndre Swift, we talk about the special touches, the touches more in the receiving game. I feel like that's where you're going to get more of Travis Etienne. That last year, he showed that he went from a running back that was really bad in kind of the receiving game to really competent and really good in the receiving game. And honestly, you're going to just probably get a lot of these dump offs and choice routes from Travis Etienne. And him and that Trevor Lawrence connection, I think, is going to really help him out. Number 27, and I don't know where to put him. I honestly don't. And so we got to put him somewhere, and it's going to be Derrick Henry. And it's simply for the fact he's getting old. He's 28, RB15. This is for the fact that if you are a contender, this is the guy that you want for the next 18 months. If you are somebody that is even close to rebuilding or have a young team, you do not want Derrick Henry. And so I kind of want to put him down more. I really do want to put him down more. Video, by the way. I'm going to be talking blackjack. So I'm going to be talking about how I won. Hey, I was on like a $10 table when I won, I think it was like $700. I won over $1,000 in blackjack. I spend some on slots because you got to play some slots. And so I'm going to teach you an easy way on how to count cards. Kind of count cards. Tune in. I think you're going to like the video. It's going to make things because I like to relax at the blackjack table, and I don't like to do all this different math. Even if you suck at math, I think you're going to be able to get this one. All right, so yeah, Derrick Henry, if you say, hey, Derrick Henry deserves to be RB 25, I'll be like, okay, well, you're probably a rebuilder team. If you say Derrick Henry deserves to be RB like 5, I'll be like, wow, maybe over the next year and a half, but not in Dynasty. It's just like, that's going to be the biggest problem with Derrick Henry is where do you put a running back who started a little bit later into his career that cannot hold, and he's coming off an injury. Oh, it is hard to gauge Derrick Henry. It honestly is. Number 28, though, is George Kittle. He is my tight end, too. And you saw how well he came up, even right back off of injury, how explosive he was. And at this point, you have to look at Pitts being tight end 1, and you have to look at George Kittle being number tight end 2. You could argue Andrews should be in there as well, which we'll talk about him probably in the next video. And so George Kittle, you just see how much he's utilized in this offense. The one concern I do have is you have a lot of mouths to feed. When you have Mitchell coming out of the backfield, Debo, you have Ayuk. This team is not a high-volume passing offense. They go through the run. So you're just limiting your chances of having these ginormous games. But Kittle, again, is super talented. So you're looking at a guy that he doesn't need many targets and catches to take 30, 40 yards and really elevate himself of being a top 3-4 tight end week-to-week basis. So that's where I have George Kittle. Number 29, and this one was actually before Mr. Brady retired, but it may not matter because we don't know what his future team and future beholds. It's Chris Godwin, our wide receiver 12. He's 25 years old. He's a super talented wide receiver. Again, talent. This is where we want talent. When we start getting into the 30s and 40s, maybe we start trying to find that opportunity. But the top picks are talent. They'll find, even in the worst of opportunities, they usually still shine. And so Chris Godwin, it'll just be where does he lie? What team does he end up being on in 2022? And if it is the Bucs, who's going to be the Bucs quarterback? Is it going to be Kyle Trask? Is it going to be Blaine Gabbert? It's a lot of question marks there. So we're going to go with 30 here, and that's Terry McLaurin, wide receiver 13. Same issues, right around the same age, a little bit older than Chris Godwin, which doesn't seem right because it seems like Chris Godwin's been around for longer. But yeah, Terry, what do they call him? Terry McLaurin? No, what do they call him? Scary Terry. Yeah, I was trying to think about it. Scary Terry, wide receiver 13 here, 30 overall, and he's again an amazing route runner. In fact, I think a lot of Garrett Wilson is being Terry McLaurin. So you just kind of hope that Garrett Wilson goes somewhere good. Because Terry McLaurin going to Washington or getting stuck into this Washington phase, he's like the DJ Moore problem. He's a really good wide receiver. Probably would be a top 10 wide receiver easily if he was on a really good quarterback team, but he's not. And so I don't think Washington's honestly going to change. And I think they're going to be stuck with a kind of a quarterback problem. And so that's why he is number 30 overall. All right. So again, that's my 21 through 30. Again, go through 1 through 20, 1 through 10, 11 through 20 on separate videos. We're going to keep going. I don't know how far I can go. I've got plenty more rankings to go. So this is Marcus, the Dynasty Dads. We'll see you soon. Take care.